Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Utes.
Smile.
I was reading.
Smile. Oh, yes. Week 3.
It's going too fast.
No. Now we're just starting to get into it. Week 3, here we go.
Hello again, Utah fans. Welcome to another episode of the Utah Football Fans Podcast. We do apologize for being a day late. If you can hear my voice, you can probably understand why.
Where's my mask?
I know.
Sounds like Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football.
I'm just hoping my voice can get through this and that I don't have a coughing fit in the middle of it. But if I do, I do. But
Yeah, no.
oh,
Be a professional.
She was sick.
yes.
Is there a doctor in the house? I think she had COVID.
I didn't get tested.
He's been sick. The two youngins have been sick, but I'm perfect health. Perfect health
that's
right
what
here.
it is.
We had to delay it a day because of these youngsters,
because
weak.
it took me down.
A weak constitution.
But here we are.
So, yeah.
And thank you for tuning in. Please follow, like, subscribe, give us a comment, give us a nice review. We've loved interacting with all of you.
Most.
Well, yeah, for the most part.
Most.
And we want to thank our sponsor, Thomas Orthodontics. Please look him up, thomasortho.com. But yeah, going back to our, Utah fans, Ohio State fans, and now Florida fans. And we do just want to give a shout out. After last week's episode, we did express our
Displeasure.
we had a not so great experience at the Florida game.
Just expressed reality of what happened.
Yeah.
Right. With the students and all of that. If you listened last week, you heard it all. But the outpouring of support we have received from Florida fans has been amazing. We just have to say thank you and acknowledge it because so many of you reached out and just said, hey, on behalf of Florida fans, we apologize. That's not what we stand for. I mean, we've received it and we're shocked by it and very much appreciate it. So thank you.
Yes. Yep.
So many of you.
I know. We got emails and DMs and
Yeah, I mean,
edible arrangements and all sorts of kind of stuff. That's not true.
we want to give a shout out to Brendan from Las Vegas. He's a Florida alum, I think. Didn't he say he was an alum? And he reached out, emailed us, had some really amazing things to say. And again, so many of you commented and said the same thing. So we very much appreciate it. That's not what we were expecting, but hey, thanks for doing it.
I mean, you couldn't win this last week to help us out, but it's fine.
Maybe
We might get to that.
We'll get
Oh,
there.
we'll get to it. I'm very upset.
Also, if you are watching on YouTube, you're seeing that we are in some matching shirts here. Yes,
Do I look handsome?
these are Utah football fans shirts. Don't they look great? They turned out great.
They actually did. I was
These are
skeptical.
sweet. You'll want one.
I was very
guarantee
skeptical.
You'll want one.
When I got the
No.
mock-up, I didn't like it. I'll be really honest with you guys. I
Why?
was very upset.
He didn't vocalize this at the time.
I made one stipulation,
Trust
and
me.
they just kind of went off on their own and did whatever. But I will eat my words because they fit great.
Yeah, these are
Thin.
sweet.
I like it. I'm a big fan.
If you're not watching on YouTube, you're going to have to go to YouTube and see. But, if you're maybe interested in one of these, shoot us a DM on Instagram. You can email us, Utah Football Fans
Twitter.
Podcast
We're-
at Gmail,
Yeah, Twitter.
Twitter
Let
DMs.
us know. We have
Let
a
us
few we
know.
can sell you.
But they look great.
Yeah.
We just look so professional now.
We're getting big time, guys.
You'll want one. That's all I can say.
We're getting big times. We got the long sleeve coming up soon as it's getting brisk outside.
I know it rained today.
Hopefully
It's
some
like
hoodies
60
and some
degrees.
sweatshirts. Hoodies
Football
and
weather.
sweatshirts.
Oh, I love football weather.
I do too.
I just want to wear jeans.
Yeah. Well, from here on out, probably.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
I was not at the game on Saturday.
Shame on you.
You were not at the game.
No.
It was so sad.
When you're gauging my levels of illness,
yeah.
and it's Saturday morning, and my wife's like, "Are you going to the game?" No, I can't.
Yeah.
Then that's when she was like, "Okay, you're actually sick."
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, if it had been the USC game,
I would have pulled through.
I would have been on an IV
Yeah.
at the game. I would have been there.
Me too.
But yeah, I unfortunately, for the first time, and I honestly don't even know how long, missed a home game.
I watched it.
I watched it.
Sort of.
I was there. I was there.
Well, la-di-da for you.
You bet. It was good to be back in the stadium. Yeah, it felt really good. And it was, it was hot, but not extremely hot.
Yeah.
I think it was mid 80s, maybe upper 80s, because you're by the end of the game being in, with the cement, the aluminum,
Yeah, it gets hot.
all that kind of stuff. But honestly, a week or so, whatever it was, a week or so ago when it was in the hundreds, that would have been rough. But no, it was cool. I'll just say, as far as the attendance, by observing, it wasn't bad considering an 11:30 a.m. game, which I hate that time.
Yeah.
And
I know Whit loves it. He
likes
has
it.
said, but it's tough, man.
but 11:30, and no disrespect, but against SUU,
Right.
just two things working against it. But even with that, it was a good crowd, decent crowd.
Well, I saw the Muss was pretty dang full,
Yeah, it was up to the top,
that's huge.
so that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't really show the crowd a whole lot on TV, so I didn't get much of a feel. But every now and then they'd show kind of an end zone cam, and it looked, 70%
It was mostly there,
full,
mostly
80% full.
So it was all right.
It's not
considering
bad.
All of
I'll
that.
take it.
What about the game?
I mean, look, they did exactly what they should do. I mean, when you beat somebody, what was it, 73-7? It could have been 93-7. In all reality, the starters all were done for the most part at halftime, which is what you want. Overall, got out of there really healthy. It was exactly the script you would want it. There's a couple things that concern me. I'll get into that, but yeah, got out of there. Cam looked fine. Running game was pretty much doing everything you want. A couple things for me that were exciting was seeing Glover get in.
Yeah.
He had
And
a couple
score.
and score twice. He just looked different. He looks like could be that guy, which is really exciting.
You didn't come to the spring game
No.
when we saw him
I was
play.
out of town.
That was really the only time
Yeah.
we've seen him play. He's something.
He looks like something.
Yeah. He's special.
He just kind of has it, and it's exciting. And then to see Curry score a touchdown, I really loved seeing that, because that guy, he easily could have transferred and gone somewhere else. I'm sure he looked at the depth chart and went, I'm third, fourth, fifth, depending, but he stuck it out, got some playing time, and he scored a touchdown. So that made me happy. So those were the positives. You guys go, and then I'll talk about some of my concerns.
By the way, I did get the score right. It was just at halftime, not at the final. But I did say 45-7, and at halftime it was 45-7.
I said it would be a blowout.
Halfway. It doesn't count.
That doesn't count,
Because
Gary.
we all knew it was
That's
going to be
going
a
out
blowout.
on a limb here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blowout.
Nobody said 73, but I got it at halftime.
That's like saying, hey, what do you think this week's score is going to be? It's going to be closer
Okay,
than last
look.
week.
Fine. How do you pick that kind of score?
I mean, I
This is
loved
not
it.
this is not trashing SUU, but the fact is, and we all know it, they know it, meaning SUU, and Utah knows it, that the talent level is the Utes are here and they're here. Now, so the game, we should win like that.
Uh-huh.
It's not like you roll up the score or anything, and they didn't try to do it, but
No.
we should dominate and we should do it against SUU. Now, having said that, why I do like it is that we should do it, and do it has not always been the same thing in the past.
Yeah.
We've had teams of this caliber, or close to it anyway, come in, and Utah, of course, wins and beats them, but it's been like 35-10 or 38-14 or something like
Your
that.
starters are in the whole game.
And when at the end of it, I'm unsatisfied because I feel like with the talent discrepancy, it should be 70.
Yeah.
So in this game, they dominated it as they should, but it wasn't. So the first half was the ones, and then the second half mostly twos and threes, and actually it never diminished as far as the domination. It just kept going, which I think is a good thing, because sometimes when the ones go out and the twos come in, even against lesser competition, there's a little bit of a drop off. There was none
They
of
usually
that.
Score on the twos.
They just kept rolling.
Yeah.
We weren't going to throw the ball, so it was basically running and just dominated them. So, and then I was listening to Whit.
Sorry, I'm dying.
Golly.
I'm dying. Sorry.
The moderator might have to take a break.
It's just like that little tickle.
Drink
Take
up.
some water.
I'm trying.
Can you mute this? Or at least... I know you can, because you've muted me before, so I know you can mute it.
What about this?
My eyes are watering.
Okay.
Keep going.
Gosh. We're supposed to be professionals.
I'll just finish it. I don't even remember what I was
You were
going
saying
to say.
you listen to
No,
Coach
here's
Whit.
what here's what it is. When I listened to Whit, he said what was good about it in watching the film is that fundamentals. Because against Florida, particularly defensively, we were crap. I mean, we got graded out as an F for just fundamentals and positions and all that
Never happens.
stuff. And so in this game, they looked at the gaps, the fundamentals, all that kind of stuff to see how they were doing. And it was very, very positive. So all of that, I'm happy with it. As a fan, no, I don't really enjoy those kinds of games. I don't like those give-me's. I prefer to play solid teams every week. But I get it, and all teams do this. But, it was fun to be in the stadium, in the sun, and the atmosphere. But, 73-7, that's only so much fun. So I'm glad it's over. I was happy with the result. I think it was a positive.
Can you talk?
Can you talk?
Oh, hell.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think when it first... You can't lean that far away from me. I'm coughing behind you. It's fine.
Uh-huh. Just sit like this
Anyways.
for the next 40 minutes.
When the game first started, watching it, you're kind of like, they look a little sloppy. They made some errors, but then just as it goes on, because everyone's starting off fresh, and then you just see the talent gap
Oh.
keep go. Like it starts kind of like this, and then as the game went on, you could just see Utah just completely run away with it. But I'm with you. I love seeing 73 because I feel like we haven't done that in so long. And like you said, sometimes when you play Weber State and it's only 38, you're like, we should have dominated.
We should put up
killed it.
55 at least.
So, and I liked seeing that our second string score. I mean, what did they score? Like 38 points or something like that with just our second stringers. So that's a positive. And
third. Or
yes,
twos and threes.
Twos and threes. And like Whit said, any experience that they get in game is huge because you never know when one of those guys is going to have to go in and play. So it's the perfect game of what it should have been, where you beat these opponents that are basically just coming in to get beat and
make some money.
they took that paycheck. I mean, that's what their coach even said. I don't know if you heard what he was saying. He basically said, like, we know we're not going to win, but we're going to enjoy that check on the way home or something like that.
I'll say this, and this is just kind of advice to anybody that plays at Utah. It doesn't matter. Don't try an onside kick to start the game off and anger the man across the sideline. Because...
Hey, they went for it.
I appreciate that they went for it. And in fact, I think that they actually recovered it. I think it was close. I'm surprised they gave it to us. And if I was an SUU fan, if I was the one SUU fan, I would have loved it. But, like you said, they were there to collect a game check. They knew what they were there for. So,
all right, let's move on to the real game.
Hold on.
Or do you have...
I have a couple of things.
Yeah.
One, Thomas, hold on to the damn football. You fumbled again. That can't be happening pretty much from this point forward. You got to hold on to that football. Number 2, and this has been kind of hammered and hit, and I've listened to Whittingham's interviews and social media. It's the wide receiver position. It's a major concern for me. Obviously, Keithy, Kincaid, they're incredible, right? But there were 4 receiving touchdowns this game, and all 4 came from tight ends. Not one receiver caught a touchdown pass this game. Solomon Enos didn't have a single catch this game. Vele, I think, had 2 or 3. Parks only had 2. Like, everything is tight end. Now, I listened to Keithy talk about it, and he said we just didn't need them because the middle of the field was so wide open that everything was just open. So we didn't need to go there. I don't know if that's the case. I've also heard that they're just not getting open. And if that's the case, that's very concerning because if they can't get open against SUU, we're going to struggle.
Well, that's what Whittingham said.
Yeah, they're not getting open. You got to get open.
Okay, he said, they have to get open, but he
said they got to demand the ball.
But he also tempered that by saying, but Kincaid and Keithy are essentially looked at with us as wide receivers.
They're receivers
they're a hybrid.
Right.
And so I agree with what you're saying. They got to get more open, but the ball's not going to go to them more than our tight ends.
No, but
the tight ends are the weapon that are hard to cover because typically it's going to be the safety or a linebacker. And so there's these mismatches, and we've got 2 of the best with great hands. So you send them, who's going to cover them?
Right.
So I agree, but I don't think I absolutely agree. They have to be a threat.
They have to be a threat. Yes.
However, I'm not in a panic mode because the way our tight ends are being used as basically our receivers, main receivers, which is great because people can't cover them.
Right.
Anyway.
So Keithy's point, he said that this week, and obviously he's going to talk his guys up, all that sort of stuff. But if you look back at last year, not SUU, San Diego State does a very good job of clogging up the middle of the field. So the idea will be that middle is not going to be nearly as open, so they're going to have to be weapons for this game. And I would love to see it. I would love to see 10 catches between Vele and Solo and a pair of touchdowns between those guys. But look, at the end of the day, if Kincaid's catching the touchdown or Vele's catching the touchdown, I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
But they've got to establish themselves as a threat to then, relieve maybe some of that safety help that's going to be focused on our tight ends. So that's the only thing that came out of this game that I was a little disappointed that I thought, okay, this game they're going to make an emphasis to target the receivers so they can, maybe get some of that confidence, and they didn't do it.
USC always throw to just one guy an entire game, so why not have us do it too?
Yeah. I mean, if I had Drake London on my team.
Yeah, they always find one dude and they just throw him every single play.
Yeah. So
what about San Diego State then? What are you thinking, Bryn?
I mean, as a fan, this is like I want a rematch. I want revenge.
Yeah, revenge.
I want revenge on this game because that
So
game last year was just awful. So many things went wrong. It was shocking. So yeah, I want revenge. I want to just go in and have a beat down. I think that'd be awesome.
So last year, I just think, just off the top of my head, let's go back. Brewer was the QB.
Right.
Okay, so Brewer's the QB. I think he got yanked.
It was halftime, or like right after halftime.
That was in the second
I
half.
looked at his QBR. Do you know what his QBR was when he got yanked out of that game? What his QBR?
Can you be negative QBR?
He was 10.
His QBR was 10.
Yeah, look it up. QBR. So
I could be a 10.
He's out. Cam comes in.
Everything
the rest
changes.
Everything changes. Now, here's the other things that people we not be remembering is that Keithy had a good game. But Kincaid only had like 2 or 3 catches, something like that, for 9 yards. So at that point, he had not even come into his own.
Right.
And Thomas had like 1 carry in that game.
Because he had fumbled
the week
so many
before.
times against BYU.
Who?
Sorry.
James,
Against
you can't.
Against them. He had fumbled, so he wasn't even
So
playing.
he did not even play. So
Right.
so think about it. From then, where we've come, so with Cam Rising, with Thomas, what he is, what Curry is now, what Bernard is, Kincaid. Just so what we were then, and I know people are trying to make these comparisons and talking about last year and that game and so forth. Our offense is 1,000 times better, and their running back,
He's
in
gone.
the NFL.
In the NFL now.
if he's stuck, I'm not sure if he's still on the team, but I think it was the Lions got him or something. So no, it's a different animal.
Didn't we also have a couple blocked punts, or like there was like 2 or 3
Some
weird
stupid special teams
special
stuff,
teams
I think.
things? I mean, I remember that game because we'd lost the week before, and so then watching this game, you were kind of going, okay, well, was the week before whatever, a fluke or whatever, and then watching San Diego State, and it was just like, what is going on? Like it was shocking.
Well, and they ran the ball on us.
Yeah, that was what they.
We
Yeah.
couldn't stop it, and then we could not do in the first half
Nothing on
anything.
offense.
And in fact, I'm trying to find it right now as we speak. Somebody did a pretty cool kind of breakdown of all the different weird things at San Diego State last year. I mean, we were playing in a soccer stadium. There was 11,000 people there. Just all these like weird things that were going on. And the first 3 drives I think it was with Cam was like punt, fumble. So it's not like Cam came in and it.
No, it took time to click because then we made it to where we tied and we went into
But
overtime.
overtime, they do some fancy like it was a whole weird thing. We both missed field goals. Like it just was ugly. It was an ugly game.
I want revenge.
So San Diego State lost to Arizona.
Yes.
Pretty handily.
It was
and they beat
38-20. So they lost pretty good to Arizona.
Arizona's going to
Who's
be
on
good,
the uptick, by the way.
better this year, but
Still.
they lost to Arizona and they beat Idaho State.
Okay.
And
The Bengals or the Tigers? Or
and
whatever
they still run the ball.
Vandals, isn't it?
So they're still running the ball.
No, that's Idaho.
Same QB as last year. But if you look at their stats and their numbers, it appears to me anyway that they're still a run-heavy team. And I cannot see them coming into Rice Eccles and they do that to us again. No way. Have you seen what the betting line is?
I'm seeing what the ESPN match predictor is saying.
I looked at the betting, a couple sites, and it got us either Utah by 21 or 23.
The one I'm looking at right now is Utah by 21 with an over-under of 49 points.
Jeez.
I mean,
I'd probably take the under.
yeah, I think
21 points.
we're gonna win, man. I'm just saying we're
That's a lot.
gonna beat them. We're a different team. We're better. We're
We
so
are a
much
different
better
team.
than we were then.
The culture, the mentality, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, it wasn't going on. It was not gelling at the beginning of last season when we played that game. And you see it now after that game and then all of last season, everything that happened. And so we're a completely different team.
Well, and we're a completely different team. And these guys on this team, they know. Most of these guys were on the team last year that lost to these losers. And it's like, no. They're not getting in the way of our season like they did last year. We're going to blow them out. Off you go. And
Did you see all the videos of them of San Diego State posting at their brand new stadium last week?
yeah,
And like no one's actually in the stadium
because
because
it's
it's so
1,000 degrees and yeah,
and there's no shade
there's
anywhere.
no shade. So people are missing the game and they're just like hanging out in
Yeah.
the corridor.
It's like, well, that was worth a brand new stadium.
Yeah. I did see that. So
So let me just throw a couple things out. So they've only they've played a couple of games. Net passing yards per game,
yeah, I saw this.
85 yards.
Their quarterback has a total of 159 passing yards
In 2 games.
games.
Against Arizona and Idaho
Idaho
State.
State.
So
they
they
just
average in
run.
2 games 85 yards.
You know what their
Jeez.
top their top rusher has so far, a total of 129 yards rushing is all. No touchdowns for him.
In 2 games?
But they're averaging 275 yards a game. So that's what I'm just saying is they're not going to be throwing the ball on us. They're going to be running the ball, and that's what they did last year.
Last year they were able to do it.
They were able to do it, and our mistakes and just didn't play good ball. They took us down. Props to them. But this year, I just don't see any of that happening. Now, if we play like we played against Florida, we're in trouble.
Right, because that's what I'm thinking is we couldn't stop Richardson from running either.
We are our discipline and fundamentals were bad, but that was the first game of the season. I think we'll get back to if we go back to Utah football. Yeah. They're not going to be able to run like that, and our offense is going to be much more threat.
Look, honestly, I don't know much about San Diego State. I know they were actually a pretty decent football team last year.
Yeah.
They went to the Mountain West Championship game. They lost to Utah State, RIP Utah State. I don't know much about them other than the numbers that are telling me you'll lose to Arizona. That's not a great way to start. I know you beat Idaho State, but come on.
That should be a 50. See, that's what I'm saying.
That should be a 55-10 score if you're that dominant. By the numbers, I just don't see it.
Do your score prediction.
My score is it's going to be 41-21.
Okay, I'm going to go 48-24.
Brandon, that was close to mine. I'm going 48-17 Utah.
The only thing with the high numbers, though, even with my 41,
if they run the ball and
is
control
that they
the clock,
run and we run.
Uh-huh.
The clock gets chewed up really fast.
It's true. All of a sudden, the first half or the first quarter's over. We've each had the ball one time, and it's 3-0.
That's what can happen. So
Right.
it stops
Yeah.
how much scoring. But I don't know. I just feel like we will. So anyway, anything else on that?
No, I don't. I mean, again, I don't have a whole lot to say.
It's 8 p.m. Saturday.
8 Oh, yeah, 8
Rice
p.m.
Eccles.
Hey, are we tailgating this week?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think we are.
Okay, so we're tailgating. Come by.
Come say
hi.
hi.
We are directly across the street from the football facility. So if you go just a little bit north, there's a crosswalk and then some stairs. We're going to be right there.
Top of the stairs.
Top of the stairs.
Look for the flag.
Love this. Probably some kids running around.
Come
the
say
banner.
hi. My kids won't be there.
Must be nice.
Mine won't be there either. 8 o'clock. It is televised. ESPN something. Is that ESPN?
Yeah, it's
2?
ESPN with Rod Gilmore.
Oh, yeah.
So thank heavens I'm going to be there in
Those
person.
guys are the worst.
The worst. So it's going to be perfect, dude.
It's going to be
Tailgate,
cool weather.
It's gonna be cool, but it's not going to be cold.
No.
The lights will be on.
This is
The stadium will be full.
Perfect football.
rocking and
Beat
rolling
the
and we'll get a
lights
victory.
out of the Aztecs, like restore order. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
All right, should we go to the national scene?
Oh, my
Let's
gosh.
go national scene.
This weekend was pretty
This
fun.
week.
For a weekend to be home,
Yeah.
deathly ill, with an iPad and then
It's
football,
true.
and I got 2 different games and just going.
That's all I did all day.
And I had an excuse too, because my wife couldn't be like, "Can you go mow the lawn?"
Yeah, she couldn't bitch at you.
She knew I was
Go mow the
actually
lawn,
sick.
trim the lawn.
No. I'm dying here. So I'm gonna watch 2 games, and then sometimes even have a game on my phone. So it was a whole situation.
You bounce back so much faster than me. What's going on?
Steroids.
Okay, that's what it is.
Roids.
Juice it up. Your heart shrinks. And some other
A couple
stuff,
other things.
but you recover quickly. I don't know.
Call. Okay.
Let's go here.
Yeah,
Texas, Alabama.
See, this
Great
is
game.
So
Texas, Alabama, folks.
I was watching the Utah game, but at the same time, it was like, well, I know what's going to happen here. So I was watching Texas, Alabama. Oh my gosh.
I was too.
Alabama, and I heard somebody else say this last week. They felt like it's the least disciplined Nick Saban team they've ever seen. The amount of penalties they were getting, and then at the end of the game when they were doing the horns down and all this stuff, like you don't usually see that from his team.
Okay, so I was gonna mention this, but since you brought it up with the horns down, did you see his comment?
Yeah.
Saban?
No.
I mean, it's on.
Oh,
You
I
can
didn't
watch
see
the
it.
replay.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said, "Stop that shit."
What? Oh!
Okay. In other words, and that. So
Well-
as you know, I'm not an Alabama guy,
No.
but I'll give Saban props for that.
Okay, but did you see the press conference with Saban before the game where someone asked him about the horns down? They said, "Are you going to tell your guys to not do the horns down?" And Nick Saban didn't even know what the guy was talking about. He was like,
Yes, he
No. Listen to me. He goes, because if your guys do it, this is how pathetic the Big 12 is at the moment. It's a 15-yard penalty if you go like this, because they're protecting Texas so
What?
much that. So he said, "Are you going to tell you guys not to do this because they'll get a 15-yard penalty?" And Nick Saban goes, "I didn't know that, but thank you, because now we are going to address it."
Okay, but see, then his players did it after the game.
After the
But
game.
by the fact that he said something else, I'm giving him props for what he deserves. Because, whatever.
They should've-
Let's get to the game.
Why is my
Anyways,
heart rate
but
so
they-
high all
but
of a sudden?
What about the
What is
game?
happening?
enlarged
God
because of your
dang.
freaking roids.
It's shrunk.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw the safety, the
Oh,
roughing the passer, which was the dumbest call I've ever seen in the entire world. The refs ruined that entire play.
they ruined like 3 or 4 plays in that
Yeah,
game.
they did.
The problem was in that game, they kicked the field goal. They go up by whatever it was, 2 points or 1 point, whatever it was. But there was a minute and a half left. And the
it was
second
too
I saw
fast.
that, I said, it's over. They got Bryce Young as their quarterback. They're going to get into field goal position. They did. Boom. Game over.
He shrugged off that Texas defender.
Yeah.
You should have
just
brought him down. That would have changed everything.
If he brings him down, you're sacked. The clock's running. They had no timeouts.
But hey,
Texas should have won.
it should have
Should've
won. It was a much better game than I expected.
Texas should have won.
I thought it was going to be, a 42-10 game. But now Texas, what are you going to do? Right?
Look, Texas, I don't know how many times they're in the red zone and they only came away with threes.
Well, their quarterback got hurt too. Did you see
And their
that?
quarterback got hurt. But he came in and played good, the
Played
backup.
good. He played really well.
But what beat him was all the red zone stuff.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
And they only got
that
3
sounds like
points
us.
multiple times. That cost him in the end. By the way, I'll go on the record. I watched the replay today of the sack in the end zone. He was freaking down.
He was down.
And if you watch it, the side of his leg,
The shin,
his
like
lower
the
leg,
hits the ground.
was on the ground.
Which is
then he
down.
hucked the ball. He's down.
But see, that's my point. The refs ruined that whole thing because the guy threw the flag for roughing the passer. If you don't throw that flag, it's a safety. They wouldn't have even. I
don't think it ended up being the penalty, did it? I think
But they said he wasn't down. So they didn't give them a penalty for roughing the passer because they say he wasn't down.
I don't know. The whole thing.
No, they screwed up. It doesn't matter. The bottom line
They
was
screwed it up.
he was freaking down. You can look at the replay. His leg hit the ground. It was a safety, man.
Yeah, those 2 points would have
Now,
mattered.
and they would have got the ball. We'll never know, but
But hey, props
like
to
what you
Texas.
said, though, he should have sacked Young. He had a chance.
He
And he
comes off
ran
the
for like
edge.
Great
30,
line.
40 yards.
Yep.
Anyway,
Good game though.
bummer.
Good
Won in
game.
I
Texas.
would have loved that. That would
Okay.
have made my day.
I saw your note.
All right, Florida.
Gosh dang it, Florida.
What?
What was that?
We're very disappointed.
What happened?
I sat down and I was like, all right, this is going to validate everything I just said for the last week. It's going to validate it. I'm feeling good. And then the first half was pretty close. And look, Kentucky's pretty good.
No, they're good.
I'm taking nothing. I'm impressed by Kentucky, but it
Florida looked like a completely different
was a
team.
totally different team.
It was like Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know. So I don't know what your team actually is because I don't know if it's the team that played us or what it was last week. They looked completely
They better
different.
hope it's the team that played us because
Well-
the team that played Kentucky is not great.
I'll
just
say
spill
this.
that everywhere too, by the way.
I'll say this. Don't get mad at me, people, please.
When you say that, it just makes people want to get
No,
mad at
no,
you.
I'm just trying to analyze it objectively here. We say the team didn't play well. If you recall before Florida-Utah game, what we said was Anthony Richardson, is really his first time as a starter, and we all know his talent. Was he going to be able to throw? How's his judgment? All of this stuff. So against Utah, and we thought he was going to make some mistakes. He kicked our butt. We acknowledged the fact that he came out, he made a ton of throws, and he scored 3 times on us, and he made fantastic plays. He was the quarterback, I think national quarterback honor of the week.
Uh-huh.
All of that stuff, okay? What we thought was a possibility didn't happen. He kicked our butt. So what happens in this game, I don't think it was the Florida team fault. Richardson didn't have a good game, dude.
He played pretty bad.
He made a few plays here or there. He didn't run, and he missed some throws. He didn't miss against us.
No.
And then there were 2 plays, and I can't remember all the exact details, but Florida was in complete charge of the game in the first half. What was it, 14 or something like that, 14-6? I don't know what it was. And he threw a terrible pick to their, I think, linebacker
trying to set up that screen right to the guy.
And they scored off of it
at
the end of the half and gave him momentum. And then in the second half, a pick 6. Now, I don't know if it was his fault or the receiver's fault, but the miscommunication, but he threw a pick 6.
I would have scored on that pick
Florida
6.
didn't score the second half, but when I was watching the game, I'm watching Richardson. Dude, he was missing throws. He's going into the dirt. The confidence was gone. And they lost. And so for me, what happened here is that was always the question I had with Richardson. I know all the hype and the talent that he actually does have, but in this particular game, he wasn't on his game. And he made some huge mistakes.
I said it after they beat us, and I stand by it even more so now. I think he's an incredible talent. I think he's an unbelievable athlete. You watch him, he can do things, especially with his legs, that are, 1 or 2 guys in all of college football can do. So good on that. But I think he is a average quarterback. Now,
I disagree. So
how are you going to disagree? How are you going to disagree after everything you just said? How are you going to?
You just said he's a crappy quarterback.
No. I said average.
He said average.
Average quarterback. Okay. I'm going to disagree. So all the
That's
hate
fine.
mail, go to James.
Go to James. I'll pull up the freaking highlights and go, okay,
No.
he missed open throws. He missed key throws. Nothing that was, okay, I understand it's, 3rd and 9. That's a challenging down. It's 3rd and 3, and he's got a guy wide open. Just misses him. Puts a freaking pick 6 that was, hey, cornerback, go. I mean, it was just so bad.
Maybe the receiver screwed up.
No, based off of what the receiver's responsibility was and how because they talk about it on the game. If the corner's doing X, the receiver does this. And if the corner's doing something else, the receiver does a hitch. Anyway, I think,
Okay, coach.
not even
I
close.
get what he's saying.
Anyway,
I don't know.
I think he's a phenomenal athlete. And look, maybe next year he's in the Heisman conversation. And I'm not going to say that's out of the realm of possibility, but when I turn on the game and they're comparing him to Cam Newton and Vince Young, and they're showing highlights of Vince Young and Cam Newton, and I'm going, okay. And then I watch that game. He's
Sure
not
didn't look like
there
it.
by a mile. I was extremely disappointed. That was the Richardson I expected to see against Utah. It was a totally different guy. I'm very bummed that Florida lost. I don't know what team they have at this point.
Guess we'll see.
I thought Napier's decisions when it was fourth down on their side of the field to go for and one of them was 8 minutes. They didn't get it.
Punt that.
But I think they missed a field goal.
Yeah, they got the ball back.
So they got lucky, or the game would have been over there, and they got it back.
Yeah.
And they were deeper in their end. It was like the 30-yard line or something like that. And over 4 minutes to go. It went for it and didn't get it.
Didn't even come close to getting it.
And then they ran the clock out kicked a field goal and won the game. I just say, what are you doing, dude? Punt that ball and have your defense stop them.
Because the defense played very well.
Was playing.
I think their defense is great. I think they've got a lot of really good dudes.
That's our Florida, Kentucky analysis.
And I'm right on all the points.
You want to sum it, clear it up?
I was just very disappointed.
All right, USC and Stanford.
Can we please look?
Pump the
Seriously, okay.
brakes.
USC is good,
USC.
but can we wait until they actually play somebody who's decent?
They play Rice, and people are like, put them at number 4.
Stanford's not good.
Crap.
Stanford hasn't been good in a few years.
Okay, but they're not Rice.
Okay.
But still, you beat Stanford and you jump 3 spots. I mean, we'll talk about the polls, which is a freaking joke. But can we stop with the love affair until they prove that they can actually beat talented teams?
I'm going to pull up their schedule here.
I'm so sick of, oh my gosh. Look, I think they're good. They're going to be good. They haven't played anybody.
Okay. Bring it down.
No.
Bring it down. USC
sucks.
Okay. They make me sick.
Go.
Again, I'm sweating down here.
But here's
so hot in the bunker.
With USC they brought in a whole offense and guys on defense, but freaking Caleb Williams.
Their defense is not that great.
They're number 7.
Caleb Williams comes in.
So stupid.
Dye comes in. Addison comes in. And I'm missing some guys I can't remember this year. And
Those
a new coach.
Those are the 3, though. You're right.
It's like, okay.
When do they actually play somebody that's
I got it right now.
Did I watch the game?
I didn't watch any of it.
I mean, I watched the beginning
I watched
of it, and then
the whole game. And let me give you my analysis. Their offense is freaking good.
Yeah. Oh, their offense is really good.
They're going to score points. And it's dynamic. I'm giving them props. I don't like them. It makes me sick that this love affair all of a sudden nationally for these guys, the Trojans. But their offense, it's potent. Now, the thing about Stanford, though, Stanford moved the ball.
I know.
Yeah.
And they made
Stanford
like 3 turnovers in the red zone or something. And they screwed themselves.
Right.
And scored 28 points.
So they lost by 20. Well, they had 3 turnovers, ended up in the end zone, all that kind of stuff. So, in watching the game, I'm thinking, I'm glad they're coming to Rice Eccles.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be a tough game, and we're not going to stop them.
No.
Okay, we're not going
they're
to
hard
stop
to
their
stop.
offense. The way we'll beat them is if Utah can play Utah ball, which means run,
Control the clock.
efficient throwing, control, all that kind of stuff, because if they're not on the field, they're not going to be scoring. So that's going to be quite a game, but USC, I looked at their schedule. I think the way they're playing, dude, I think they can.
Okay, here's their schedule. So they play Fresno this week. They'll win. They go to Oregon State the following week. Oregon State is sneaky good.
We're gonna,
I think Oregon State could make some noise this year. I don't think that they're going to be one of the 2 teams at the end, but I think at the end of the year we're going to look at Oregon State and go, man, they won some games. They're a very
Let's hope they win.
Solid. No, I want USC to beat them.
Beat Oregon State?
Because then they play Anus U.
Why?
Because I'll tell you why. Then they play Washington State, and then they come to Rice Eccles Stadium. I want an undefeated USC and a 1-loss Utah. Both teams will be top 10 coming to Rice Eccles Stadium on the 15th of October. That's what I want.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Why would you not want
that?
that?
I want them because I want to win the Pac-12. And so I want...
You can win the Pac-12 even if they...
Okay, why not have them get some losses? And we don't... Get as many losses as you can get.
I want to see what they
I don't want to be up against it.
No, I want to see what they actually are like up against a team that can score, that can have an offense.
Okay, quick poll. Would you rather that USC comes in at what? How many would that?
This game's not even. It's like a month away.
3-2, or do you want them to be freaking undefeated?
I want them to lose every game going to that.
Okay, I want them to lose every game too. But you know what I'm saying.
Okay, can we? Let's stop. I can't with USC. There's gonna be so much to talk about with them. It's a month away. I'm so sick of it already.
I turn on the freaking ESPN and they're loving them up.
golly.
Oh, I know.
Cowherd is in love.
because he lives there, and he's like, oh, Lincoln Riley.
That's what I want him to lose.
And I'm just going, you're disgusting because they've played Rice.
That's what I mean.
And everyone's talking about they're going to the farm. Guess what? I went to the farm last year.
That's not intimidating at
There
all.
was
They got a
17
tree.
people,
A tree.
a guy in a tree costume dancing.
You can see the guy in the tree.
The weirdest band you'll ever
There's
see.
nobody there. You know what? I actually said
Beautiful,
though.
though.
I said to my husband,
beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
go, this is the most people I've ever seen at Stanford Stadium.
And probably 2/3 of them were USC fans.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
And
let's move on.
And they
Yes.
only beat them by 13
more
points.
on the national scene.
Ay.
More to the national scene.
See, I can't stand it.
We're going to talk about Baylor.
Fired up now.
I didn't watch any
We're
of it.
talking about Baylor.
Baylor. What
I
about
watched
Baylor?
I watched Baylor play. They were ranked 9. And they were the worst ranked 9th team I've ever seen. I swear they have 5 plays.
It was,
4 running plays,
and then a throw the ball away.
and then there's a throw into the ground. It was the most unbelievable thing. No way they were 9th in the nation. And so I've said that, and then I'll just say their secondary, why don't you cover somebody?
if you had told me
10 yards off guys and some lanky loser that is beating Baylor, overrated.
if you had told me after that game had happened, if you had come to me and been like, hey, that was Baylor's quarterback's the first time he's ever put a helmet and pads on, I would have been like, oh, it makes sense now. Because he looked like he was lost. I probably saw him complete 2 passes all game. It was incredible.
It was.
They are terrible.
I can't remember them being like this. It was.
They were really
Who's
good
their
last
offensive
year.
coordinator?
It's that, Grimace or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Grimace. Grimace is the guy. Anyway, honestly, that was I couldn't
was
believe
bad.
it. So being ranked 9, no way.
No, they shouldn't be in the top 25.
Okay, well, can we talk about the polls?
Well, let's just throw out just some props. I know Ohio State played Arkansas State, so yeah, that was going to be a blowout. But I watched kind of the replay highlights of the whole game, and I'm watching it. I'm just Stroud, the dude, man, he just throws a nice ball, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Dude, he's a talent. Henderson, the running back. I'm just going, man, these guys they're smooth. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's 3 games I want to get your opinion on. Texas A&M playing Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Number 2, Notre Dame
Notre Dame went down.
gets beat by Marshall.
I watched bits of both of those.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Both those games, I think that Appalachian State took like $1.4 million to go into College Station.
Did you see them tweet after
Yeah.
the game?
Yeah.
They said something like,
Thanks for the money or something like that. Same with Marshall. Marshall goes into Notre Dame, takes like 1.3 mil, gone. And then locally,
Legitimately beat him.
beat him. My personal favorite was the local team of Weber State. First of all,
Nice job, Weber.
beating Utah State.
Weber State does not have the budget to stay in the hotel up in Logan. So they got on a bus in the morning, drove up to
my
Logan.
gosh.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
No, it's not far, but still, absolutely shellacked Utah State 35-7.
Utah State is just,
Utah State.
they got broken from Alabama.
That was my favorite one of the weekend.
We're going to talk about the polls. The polls
All
is,
right, just quickly then. What are your views on these polls?
well, I think this last weekend just shows exactly why you should not have polls until week 4 or 5.
At least.
I mean, this is ridiculous. How many of the best teams in the nation lost? So
Texas A&M, what were they?
Texas A&M, Notre Dame,
5.
Alabama almost
Notre Dame
lost.
was 8. Texas A&M.
And now they're out of it.
It's just so stupid. And the thing that I don't like is because people say, well, they don't matter. Yes, they do matter because it sets you up for the rest of the season. If you're not ranked high, you have a really hard time of getting there by the end of the season. So we should all just be starting on this level playing field And then week 4 or 5, you can actually see who is
it's
the
the
quote
college football
unquote.
playoff poll.
I know.
That puts you in a
A&M was
place.
6. Baylor was 9. And so, yeah, I love the polls as much as the next guy because it's fun to see where your
fun.
team is, and it's fun. But it's stupid until week 4 or 5 where, yeah, you can actually see how good are people.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. Okay, freaking USC is 10th. They beat an unranked team that they should have beat, and they jump 3 spots.
No, they're in 5th place right now.
7th.
Seventh place.
And then you've got Texas A&M, who loses to Appalachian State. Appalachian State's not ranked. Texas A&M dropped to like 24th. But see, we were ranked. Florida was unranked. They beat us. Suddenly they jump in. It's just like
It's stupid.
It's
Or
stupid. There's
we're
no
ranked-
rhyme or reason.
we beat somebody by 196 points, and then
Yeah, we
drop
drop.
a spot. Explain it to me.
There's
that's,
no
that's
explanation.
the point.
So,
of it.
yeah,
and
polls
the other thing I was just going to say regarding the AP and the coaches poll. Let's go coaches poll first. Is there anybody out there in cyberland that actually thinks any coach watches any game?
No, they
beside
don't
their
have
own?
the time
No,
for
they have
that.
some flunky on the staff do the vote.
Oh, 100%.
Or whatever they do, but it's not the coaches.
No.
Number 2, the AP. It's a bunch of writers. Writers are weird anyway. They live in a weird world, actually. And do you think, for instance, how many of those writers who voted watched the Baylor game?
At 10 o'clock
I mean,
Mountain time?
It's freaking midnight.
when it
Back.
started. Yeah.
There's no way. They just looked at the stats.
Yeah, it was 2 a.m. by the time
Stupid.
it was over.
All
You're
of it's
right.
stupid.
They woke up and went, "Oh, okay." And that's how I'm going to put it. And plus, all the writers have their bias based off of region,
Oh, yeah.
based off of conference, based off of history. Now everyone will go back to USC. They're back. We have to put them on this pedestal because they won 2 games magically. So
There's just a lot of good football teams, and it's stupid that we get so caught up in it, at least so early. I think they're stupid.
yeah,
All right, the last thing we're going to do, we're bringing back the Jackass Award of the week. We haven't done this in a while, and it could be the AP poll is the Jackass, but no, we are giving the Jackass to
do we have one?
the Texas A&M
Oh, yeah.
Yell leaders for the little viral video that's going right now. They do this
Every game.
Yell night, or I can't remember what they call it. They do it before every game. Where they get like 30,000 people to come Friday night into the stadium
Impressive.
and do this whole thing. And their little Yell leaders get up and like roast the other team. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up. But the stuff that this guy's saying about Appalachian State, just call him like backwoods hicks that can't even read
They
their
can't read
own
a map, so how are they going to get to the stadium and just all just these things, and then
Then they come in and
come
just
and
beat
the
down.
wheels off you, take your money, and get their map out and drive
Nice.
home.
It did not age well.
So,
So
find it. It's. I've tweeted it. I'll tweet it again. It's pretty dang funny.
sorry, A&M Yell leaders, you got
So the
Jackass
Jackass
of the
goes
week.
to the
Yell
Yell
leaders,
leaders.
yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I've got to look that up.
I have a
It's pretty good.
Jackass B award. I'm thrilled the NFL's back. College football is 1 for me. The NFL is starting to become a distant 2. But last night was Russell Wilson's now playing for the Broncos, goes back to Seattle. The Seattle fans booed the guy.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's jackassery. The guy was there forever. 1 year Super Bowl. He was the guy.
The
And-
Seattle uniforms were hideous.
yeah. Cody Barton, by the way,
he
balled
had a
out.
day.
But Seattle fans, don't boo the guy. You cheer for him before the game, and then when he's on the field going against your team, then you boo him. But come on,
there you go.
That's pretty bad. So congratulations,
All right.
Ute fans.
We will mail you your trophy.
Saturday night. Let's be there. Let's take care of business. Let's get that revenge, and let's get this thing rolling.
Pac-12.
go.
It's Pac-12 play right after that. This is our last.
Yeah,
this is it.
then
And then it really matters.
let's do it.
Alrighty. I survived, sort of.
Kind of. It was
I can feel the virus all over.
like wash everything.
I didn't cough in your direction.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It floats, and it goes in.
It is like 109 degrees down.
No, you're just worked up, and your roids
hot?
and your roids are messing you
No,
up.
I'm fine.
Oh. No, I don't. People are gonna think I actually. I wouldn't mind it. If anybody has connections, send me some toys. I wouldn't mind trying them at this point in my life. Who cares?
Falls off, you'll care.
Who cares?
Let's go, Utes.